In November 1944, Europe became the stage for intense battles both on the ground and in the skies. Recognizing the pivotal role of daytime bombing, the Allies faced the daunting challenge of ensuring the survival of their B-17 planes. With a mere handful managing to complete 25 combat missions unscathed out of the over 12,000 produced, the harsh reality of war was evident in the loss of more than 4,000 aircraft over European skies. Among these countless tales of aerial warfare, one particularly intriguing incident occurred on November 23, 1944. An Allied airfield in Belgium became the unexpected landing ground for a B-17 known as the Ghost Bomber. Remarkably, the aircraft touched down intact, yet its cockpit had no crew members. The Allied airfield at Kortenberg, Belgium, bristled with defenses, including a trio of vigilant anti-aircraft guns scanning the skies for signs of both friend and foe. As an American B-17 emerged on the horizon, the gunners initially braced for impact, fearing it might plummet onto their position. However, a closer observation revealed a different scenario. The bomber approached with its landing gear deployed, hinting at possible damage and perhaps a wounded crew aboard. Amidst the daily spectacle of departing bombers outnumbering returning ones, each bearing the scars of battle, this particular aircraft descended with unusual haste, its 35,000-pound frame hurtling towards Earth. With bated breath, the soldiers manning the AA guns awaited the inevitable collision. Miraculously, the Ghost Bomber narrowly avoided their emplacement, but its touchdown was far from graceful. The aircraft bounced upon impact, its off-kilter trajectory causing one wing to strike the ground with a resounding crash, while propellers splintered violently, casting debris into the air. Approximately 100 feet from the gunner's position, the battered bomber finally came to a halt. Its engines continued to churn, an anxious audience awaiting the emergence of its crew. Yet as minutes passed, hope dwindled. No survivors emerged from the Ghost Bomber's silent fuselage, leaving a haunting mystery in their wake. Ground personnel adhered to standard training protocols, refraining from approaching an aircraft with its engine still roaring even after it had landed. Typically, such a scenario would prompt a crew to either power down the engines, disembark, or call for assistance via radio communication. Yet, as the minutes ticked by at the airfield in Belgium, there was no communication indicating the arrival of the mysterious aircraft, which hailed from its home base across the English Channel. Concern grew among the officers stationed on the ground as no one emerged from the seemingly deserted plane. After a tense 20 minutes, British Major John V. Crisp resolved to confront the mystery of the Phantom aircraft, its 3 engines still humming with life. With a crowd gathered, Major Crisp approached cautiously, the rumble of the engines growing louder with each step. Observing no signs of movement within the aircraft's windows, he scoured its exterior for a point of entry, directing his unit to establish a makeshift camp nearby. Navigating his nerves, Crisp finally located the entry hatch concealed beneath the fuselage. As he ventured inside, he braced himself for the grim possibility that the absence of the crew indicated a tragic fate. Exploring the interior of the Ghost Bomber, later dubbed the Phantom Fortress, Crisp encountered intriguing clues amidst the eerie silence, partially consumed chocolate bars and scribblings in the aircraft logbook. Pressing onward, Crisp eventually reached the cockpit, deciphering the controls to silence the engines. Alone within the confines of the aircraft, he grappled with the unsettling realization that the entire crew was absent, leaving behind a cache of unused parachute packs. The perplexing question of their disappearance had deepened, compounded by the baffling mystery of how they could have exited a mid-flight aircraft without their essential parachutes. The mystery surrounding the vacant aircraft captured the immediate attention of the Allied chain of command. Dubbed both the Ghost Bomber and the Phantom Fortress, this particular plane stood out for its absence of an official name, a rarity among the typically named B-17Gs. Notably, iconic aircraft like the Memphis Belle, celebrated for completing 25 combat missions without crew fatalities, and later immortalized in a Hollywood film, were the norm, their names proudly emblazoned on their surfaces. Investigators delved into the aircraft's history, uncovering its serial number and tracing its origins to the 91st Bomber Group stationed in East Anglia in the United Kingdom. The aircraft had departed from there on its assigned mission with its crew aboard. What transpired during the flight became a matter of intense scrutiny. Signs within the aircraft indicated the presence of occupants during the mission, such as the removal of the Sperry bomb site cover, standard protocol for a bombing run. Eventually, the crew was located, but they were nowhere near the plane. All 10 men were found alive at a different airbase in Belgium. Upon interrogation, they revealed their mission, a bombing run targeting the Luna oil refinery in Merseburg, Germany, a crucial target in the war effort. While American bombers operated during the day, their British counterparts flew nocturnal missions. Both endeavors were perilous, with the latter offering slightly greater safety but lower accuracy. Nevertheless, the Allies were relentless in their pursuit of German targets, seeking to bring an end to years of global conflict. The pilot of the Phantom Fortress, Lieutenant Harold R. Debolt, was an experienced aviator at the helm as the aircraft ventured into German airspace with its assigned squadron. German anti-aircraft defenses engaged the bomber as it flew at low altitude, resulting in 2 hits, one of which was direct. Miraculously, none of the ordnance detonated, sparing the crew from further harm. Debolt recounted a harrowing narrative of a direct flak hit damaging one of the plane's engines, rendering it inoperable, an assertion that contradicted the observations of Allied ground troops who witnessed the aircraft's landing. As it approached the airfield, all 4 engines appeared to be functional, despite one propeller shattering upon impact with the ground. Only after Major Crisp intervened did the remaining 3 engines cease operation. According to the crew, they were navigating at low altitude, veering away from their air group, a precarious situation intensified by the treacherous conditions of enemy airspace. They described encountering severe turbulence amidst the inclement weather, exacerbating their plight. With one engine reportedly incapacitated and a malfunctioning bomb bay, Debolt opted to abort the bombing mission and initiate a return to their English base. Desperate to maintain altitude, Debolt instructed his crew to jettison any loose equipment through the windows and hatches, a futile attempt to lighten the aircraft's load. Despite their efforts, the plane continued its descent. Debolt recounted a chilling moment when a second engine ceased functioning, dashing hopes of reaching the safety of the English Channel. Redirecting towards Brussels, he ordered his crew to prepare for a parachute descent. Debolt, the last to abandon ship, entrusted the autopilot with guiding the aircraft as he leapt from the dwindling craft. As they descended, enveloped by clouds, the crew lost sight of the faltering aircraft. Their final glimpse revealed it struggling onwards, propelled by the remaining 2 engines, before vanishing into the murky abyss below. The discrepancy between the crew's account of the Phantom Fortress's condition and the observations of ground soldiers raises perplexing questions. While the crew asserted that only 2 engines remained operational, witnesses on the ground reported seeing all engines functioning. Despite Major Crisp being the sole individual to inspect the aircraft internally, multiple witnesses, including AA gunners, affirmed the sight of the plane with all engines in operation. The sudden restoration of damaged engines mid-flight contradicts the typical behavior of bomber engines damaged by enemy fire. Additionally, the crew reported sustaining at least 2 flak hits, yet observers like Crisp noted no visible signs of damage consistent with enemy fire upon landing. This disparity may be attributed to the challenge of distinguishing between flight-induced damage and the effects of a rough landing, particularly for ground personnel not versed in aircraft mechanics. B-17 bombers were renowned for their resilience, a quality that made them prime candidates for daytime bombing missions over Nazi Germany. While surviving a rough landing was within the realm of possibility, the autonomous landing of an unmanned bomber at an Allied airfield defied conventional wisdom. While autopilot systems capable of maintaining course and altitude existed as early as 1912, those capable of executing safe landings did not emerge until 1965. The mechanism by which the unmanned bomber accomplished this feat remains a baffling enigma. Equally troubling is the mystery surrounding the crew's return to the ground. While it is logical for a crew to evacuate a failing aircraft using their parachutes, the discovery of 12 unused parachutes on board poses a baffling conundrum. Given the imperative for B-17 bombers to minimize weight for optimal payload and agility during daytime missions, the presence of surplus parachutes on the aircraft raises questions about the crew's mode of descent. How the crew returned to the ground without utilizing parachutes when none were missing from the plane remains an unsettling puzzle. An official investigation into the incident failed to provide satisfactory answers to the lingering mysteries, leaving two perplexing questions unresolved for years. Firstly, if the aircraft was equipped with a surplus of parachutes, why were they not jettisoned alongside other excess equipment as instructed? Second, why would the crew have extended the landing gear on a plane they were abandoning to its fate? Two plausible explanations emerge to account for the inconsistencies surrounding the Phantom Fortress. Firstly, the urgency of the impending Battle of the Bulge in the nearby Ardennes forest may have diverted attention away from fully investigating the incident. Secondly, what if the aircraft had been part of a clandestine experiment involving radio-controlled craft, with the crew merely serving as a cover story for a failed test? Given the era's penchant for secret technological endeavors nearing the war's end, the Ghost Bomber might have been one among many covert projects under scrutiny. Which explanation holds the truth remains a matter of conjecture.